Listen to this.
Hello everyone. Today we come to nourish the wisdom of the mind, to nourish the element of life, which is the origin of who we are. May we be freed from all suffering. May we come to know the truth. May we understand where we come from and what we truly are. Why must we continue to cycle in samsara, endlessly, born, aging, suffering, and then this body dissolves and our mind drifts towards a new body? With a new body, it is the same, born to consume and be consumed, then aging, suffering, and dying. Our mind drifts again towards a new body, and this continues without end. When will it end? And what will our minds be like? This is the wisdom. This is the knowledge. This is the only teaching that we must learn. I will record all the teachings of the essence of life, so that we may hear them, even passing them down to our descendants, through all eternity, until no one is born again. The knowledge that has been recorded is meant to benefit everyone in this world, whether they are children, the elderly, the disabled, women, men, all genders, all ages, all classes, all statuses, all beliefs, all religions, all nationalities, all races, and all countries. Everyone can listen. Once they listen, those who awaken their minds first will realize, and we will be free from all doubt in everything. We will no longer be born again. We will no longer suffer. We will encounter the most wondrous thing which we already possess, but we have simply forgotten our true nature. We have become lost in the world of fabrication, lost in a world of dimensions, dimensions of width, length, height, thickness, time, distance, and thought. We give value to these dimensions, lost in a world that has shape, form, and appearance, even though these dimensions are created by the mind, the element of life, the very origin of who we are. Another way to describe it is that we are lost in the world of shadows, in a mirror. It is like a shadow when the sunlight touches it. We get lost in the world of shadows, lost in the world of mirrors. Picture this. There is a large mirror standing in the forest. We are born as an animal, one who doesn't know any better. We live our life normally, searching for food. Let's say we are a bear. As a bear, we walk around eating fish, eating small animals, consuming other lives. One day, another comes to eat us. From the moment we wake up until we fall asleep, we eat him, and he eats us. We try to escape, and we try to eat him too. We go back and forth, eating and being eaten. When he eats us, we feel pain, we suffer, and we become angry, hateful, vengeful. When we eat him, he becomes angry, hateful, and vengeful towards us as well. There is no difference. When consciousness or life essence dwells in any form, it immediately identifies with that form as self, even though we are not truly the form we inhabit. We mistakenly cling to this identity, just as now we believe ourselves to be human beings. We've completely accepted this notion. We rely on an inner voice that constantly speaks, and if we observe carefully, we'll notice this voice is always active, always present. This voice assigns value to having a physical form, tells us we are human, identifies our limbs as our own. Yet if we look deeply, nothing actually declares itself to be anything. Observe all things. They make no claims about what they are. Look at a tree. It never announces what it is. It's only this inner voice that labels it, saying, "That's a mango tree." The voice speaks, but the thing itself remains silent. Even this physical form never declares what it is. It has no inherent name or family name. This body never speaks of having an age. We know this body is temporary, born only to dissolve. It has limited time, like medicine with an expiration date that must be used quickly before it deteriorates and becomes harmful. Similarly, while this body still functions, we must hasten to use it wisely. Why must our consciousness dwell in this physical form? This is the essential question. Our physical forms are in constant flux. Our consciousness can inhabit the bodies of aquatic creatures, land animals, underground beings, or winged creatures. We have been reborn in countless bodies, an infinite number of times. And now, in this moment, we have attained a human body. We must make the most of it. What is the highest purpose of having this body? What is the greatest benefit of utilizing this form? With a body, we also have a voice, correct? This voice exists and can be used, right? This voice is meant to function in this world, to communicate within this realm. Do you see? The body, too, exists for use in this world. This voice, likewise, is here for the same purpose. The voice that speaks, the thoughts that arise within. Have you ever seen the voice that speaks in your mind? That very image, the one forming within, is the same essence. This is what we rely on. We rely on the emotions that arise within us, whether they are of satisfaction, dissatisfaction, or neutrality. No matter what kind of emotion it is, all of them are merely tools to be used in this world. Do you see this? Just like the body, these emotions exist for use in this realm. Right now, as we perceive, memory also functions. Everything we remember, every sensation we experience, whether it is a scent as we walk by, a sound, an image, a taste, or the feeling of air against the skin, these perceptions are part of this world. They serve as tools for engaging with this existence. In the end, all of these are instruments that the mind relies upon to navigate this world. It is like taking medicine. It must be used quickly and wisely while it still serves its purpose, because in the end, it will begin to fade, and once it can no longer function, what was once useful may even turn into a burden. This body is the same. Since we have come to rely on it, we must make use of it swiftly, utilizing the voice, mental images, emotions, and perceptions. These tools exist for a purpose: to come to know the mind, to recognize our true nature. From the moment we are born, we have spent our lives learning only about external things: how to survive, how to acquire wealth, status, power, and superiority. We strive to dominate the world, even the universe itself, as if everything were meant to be ours. But how long can we truly hold on to it? When this body eventually breaks apart, the mind drifts on, and in most cases, 99.99%, it is reborn as an animal. The chance of being reborn as a human is extremely rare. Do we know why countless minds, natural and existing before all things, are infinite in number, beyond measure? These minds are without limit. Consider the human beings on this planet. We often say there are around 6 or 7 billion people, correct? That is the number of minds currently residing in human bodies. But now, think of just one type of living being, those that dwell in water. How many countless trillions upon trillions of fish exist in the oceans, rivers, and lakes? And that is only one kind of aquatic creature. How many shrimp? How many crabs, shellfish, or even the smallest water-dwelling beings? Their numbers are immeasurable, infinite. These are all minds inhabiting the forms of aquatic creatures, an unfathomable, limitless multitude. Humans are incomparable, utterly insignificant in number. Consider how many land animals exist, how many birds, how many insects, and how many tiny creatures dwell beneath the earth. Imagine picking up a pinch of soil with just 2 fingers, the tiny speck of earth in your grasp that represents humans. Meanwhile, the vast expanse of soil covering the entire world represents the countless minds inhabiting the forms of animals. Can you fathom how immense that is? We have been given the rarest opportunity to exist in this smallest fraction, yet it is also the most capable. Humans possess intelligence, evolution, and the ability to communicate. If this body were like medicine, it would be the finest, most potent remedy, and like all medicine, it must be used quickly, before it expires. Do you see? Having attained a human body, the ability to communicate, and the opportunity to learn everything about the world, the universe, and all that exists, we can acquire limitless knowledge. Meanwhile, other beings, the animals, have little to no chance to learn, isn't that so? We have the capacity for evolution and understanding, yet there is one field of knowledge we have never truly explored: the study of the mind, the study of life's essence, the knowledge of the fundamental nature, the origin of all things. This is the most profound, the most elusive knowledge, one that we have always hesitated to approach. Do we realize that this very mind, this very essence of life, is what we have relied upon all along, yet we have never truly come to know it? Do we realize that the most precious thing we already possess is the very thing we do not truly know? Instead, we spend our lives learning about everything else, about the world, beyond the world, even beyond the universe. We gather vast knowledge, accumulate wealth, amass food, gain status, and wield great power. But in the end, what is the true benefit of all this? This body is constantly moving toward its end. Moment by moment, it is nearing its expiration. Sooner or later, it will perish. It could be today, tomorrow, or even tonight. Do not assume there is much time left. A single misstep, a sudden fall, and it could all be over. Walking along, an unexpected collision, and it is done. A fluctuation in blood pressure, a sudden drop in sugar levels, an unforeseen infection. Shock sets in, and that is the end. Death comes effortlessly, in an instant. This body is like medicine. It must be used before it expires. Do you see? The body does not last long. It is the rarest vessel we have been fortunate enough to inhabit, the human form. And so we must make the most of it. The highest purpose of being born human is to study the mind. Why must we study the mind? Because our mind, while dwelling in this body, a body that will not last, seeks to understand itself. It has come to learn, to comprehend its own nature. This mind relies on this tool, this temporary vessel, much like a machine, to navigate and experience this existence. We are inhabiting this machine, this body, relying on this voice, which is like a program within it. Imagine this body as a machine, and the voice as one of its programs, capable of producing sound, forming thoughts, and making sense of things. We also rely on mental imagery, which allows us to create and visualize pictures. Have you ever thought of something and seen an image in your mind? Try picturing the faces of your parents, a duck, a chicken. Imagine them. Picture a single chicken, a pig, a cat. Imagine 3 cats living in your home, one white, one black, one red. These 3 cats are constantly chasing and biting each other. Can you see them? Now think of your family, your children, your loved ones. These images arise, don't they? These mental impressions are tools, instruments for use. Our mind depends on these tools. It relies on this machine, on the program of voice, on the program of mental imagery that continuously generates thoughts and inner sounds. Do you see? I am using this voice to speak, to communicate with you, to tell you that the voice you hear is merely a tool, something meant for use in this world, for communication. But we are not this voice. We are the mind, the essence of life. Understand this clearly. This voice is a tool that accompanies the body, existing to facilitate communication in this world. It can also be seen as a manifestation of the mind, the voice that speaks within, the mental images that arise, the emotions of satisfaction, dissatisfaction, or neutrality. All of these are manifestations of the mind. They are like the waves on water. Waves are a natural expression of water. Do you see? They arise continuously, year after year, lifetime after lifetime. Yet by some chance, water itself does not realize that it is water. It perceives itself as a wave, just as we believe ourselves to be human. We believe that we are speaking at this moment, that we are thinking, that we are experiencing emotions. Because of this belief, we become immersed in suffering, entangled in joy. Wake up. A robot is programmed with sound, with images, with the ability to generate emotions. We are merely the energy of life, residing within this robotic form. No matter how these programs condition experiences, they are not us. Do you understand this? If you do, then rejoice, for you will begin to sense a profound lightness. We will feel unburdened, and tears may flow. If we truly grasp this, remember, when that understanding arises, there will be a sense of lightness and release. The suffering we once carried will gradually dissolve completely. Life will become simpler, lighter, and free, and tears will fall without us even realizing it. Listen to my recordings often, and everyone can realize the nature of the mind, the essence of life. Everyone, regardless of gender or age. This understanding is always accessible. Listen diligently, and within 7 days, 7 months, at most within a month, you will awaken. If it takes longer than a month, it means the attachment runs deep. Listen with full attention, with your heart. The more you immerse yourself in listening, the better. Let my voice resonate within your mind at all times. That is truly beneficial. Then the mind will awaken. When it awakens, it will recognize, wait, if that's the case, then these thoughts, they are not me. Yes, mental images and emotions are not who we are. We are the mind, the essence of life itself. Do not forget this. Do not fall into the belief that we are merely human. Do not think that we are this pill. This pill has a limited lifespan. It does not last long. It must be used in time. It must serve its purpose. Do you understand? If we have the pill but merely keep it without ever taking it, it will expire. Once it expires, that's the end. Do you see? We have this body, this voice. These are meant to be used wisely. The mind creates images for understanding. There are programs for sound, for vision, for emotions, and for perception, sensing smells, tastes, touch, and sound. It is constantly perceiving. There is even a program for memory. These are the tools that allow us to dwell in this robotic form. We have been given extraordinary instruments. We must use them to realize what we truly are. Do you understand? Do not be deluded into thinking that we are human. Do not lose sight of the essence. This is the study of the mind, the essence of life. I have spoken clearly, and I will emphasize it once more. This body does not last long. Suppose it were to expire tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. If tomorrow morning marks its end, that means there are only a little over 10 hours left. What will we do to ensure that we do not return, to be free from suffering once and for all? What will we do? Will we simply lie down? Will we rush about in agitation? Will we hurry to pray somewhere? Will we spend money, consume endlessly? If only 10 or 15 hours remain before this body ceases, if in 15 hours it is certain to perish, what will we do? Ask yourself. Will we eat, sleep, travel, and carry on as before? Would we still be the same? Whatever we wish to be, we remain the same. It is still us, isn't it? But do we not realize this? Has no one in this world ever taught us? From the moment we were born, our parents never taught us this, did they? No teacher in this world has ever told us that we are the mind, the essence of life. Do you know that the mind, the essence of life, has no form? It does not come or go. It is empty, clear, and profoundly pure. In this clarity and purity lies the primordial essence of all things. Here there is no time, no distance, no space. It merges seamlessly with all existence. It is the primordial essence of all things, yet we struggle to visualize it, don't we? Try to picture this. Let's erase the body, erase the voice, erase this robotic form. Once the body is gone, the voice is gone as well. The sound we use, erase that too. Mental images, erase them. No sound, no images remain. Now erase emotions as well. No neutral feelings, no joy, no suffering, nothing at all. Can you grasp this? Erase even the faculty of perception, no awareness of anything. Erase all memory, leaving nothing behind. What remains? You might say, there's nothing left to erase. Yes, precisely. Here, nothing exists. This emptiness, clear, pure beyond measure, this is the mind, the essence of life itself. This is our primordial essence. This is how it is. Difficult to picture, isn't it? Let's try this. Erase the world entirely. No more world. Without the world, there is no need to speak of ourselves anymore. Now, erase the universe. Remove all the stars, the sun, the black holes. Erase darkness, erase light. Erase everything down to the last speck of dust. What remains is pure emptiness, clear, boundless, and profoundly pure. This is the primordial essence, and that is what we are. We are nature itself, inseparable from this vast, luminous emptiness. We are one with it, completely unified as a whole. Here's another metaphor. Imagine a vast ocean filled with immeasurable water. Take the tiniest droplet from this ocean, and then another and another, placing each drop into vessels representing all beings, human and animal. These infinite drops represent the essence of life. When we achieve enlightenment about the nature of mind or life essence, it's like returning that single drop back to the ocean. When all physical forms of beings dissolve completely, all these drops float back to merge with the ocean, becoming one with it entirely. Where then is our individual drop? Where is our pure drop of life essence? That entire ocean is our collective life essence. It becomes one with all the water in the ocean. Do you understand? This pure, clear water merges completely into oneness, indivisible, inseparable, yet we are all of it. When a drop is taken out and placed in a vessel, that becomes us once again. Can you grasp this? Similarly, this pure, clear, empty life essence, when it's separated from the universal emptiness, dispersed into fine particles at the moment of the Big Bang. At a certain point in this original pure essence, before the first star appeared in the empty clarity, there was an explosion at a single point of this primordial essence. Bang! Immense energy masses expanded outward, because this essence is fundamental matter. When we compare ourselves to water and imagine dropping an explosive into it, a violent explosion occurs. Tiny water droplets scatter from the ocean, dispersing vastly outward. We cannot count these scattered droplets. They may reach infinity in number, all originating from that ocean. This explosion resembles the Big Bang, which erupted within the pure, clear essence, an empty space that can be seen but not touched. This primordial essence, this original element, exploded from a single point. When the Big Bang occurred, it created an immense amount of mass energy. This mass energy itself was part of the essence that contained mass and energy bursting outward. Through induction and friction, tiny dust particles emerged. These particles transformed into countless microscopic objects scattered vastly outward. Each tiny dust particle contains self-encompassing energy, with electrons, protons, and neutrons surrounding the particle's nucleus. These dust particles induced one another, taking form until they developed into suns. Stars evolved into solar systems, galaxies, universes, and infinite cosmic realms that continue to exist today. Our life essence burst forth from that point, the original essence we once were. We were scattered from that point, and do you know that it's uncountable? The life essence is infinity, beginning to attach to matter in various cooling stars. Our life essence attached to the cosmic dust in those stars. That dust began to come alive, becoming single-celled organisms, then developing into 2 cells, 3 cells, evolving continuously until today. We started as the first single-celled creatures, then grew to 2 cells, 3 cells, and we began to consume one another. In those early times, we consumed each other. When others consumed us, we felt pain, suffering, and hatred. When we consumed them, they too experienced suffering and hatred toward us. We began forming connections through energies of anger and hatred, energies that carried the meaning, "You ate me, so I will eat you back," cycling endlessly. These relationships were linked through the energy fields emanating from our minds or life essence. Then we transformed, evolving into creatures with 2 cells, 3 cells, 4 cells, multiplying exponentially. We became diverse cellular beings, uniting as single living entities, aquatic creatures, land animals, winged beings, evolving over vast periods from that time until now. All of this, the universe, stars, suns, black holes, cosmic dust, darkness, light, all of it exists within that same original clear emptiness. Do you understand this point? Everything mentioned arose from the primordial essence and still dwells within this same original essence. Do you understand? These things can move because this clear emptiness, this primordial essence, serves as their foundation. Everything resides in this clear emptiness. Darkness dwells in this clear emptiness. Light dwells in this clear emptiness. All stars, all living beings, all particles exist within this clear emptiness. Our mind is just like this. This sound is a phenomenon dwelling in the clear emptiness of mind, what we call a mental formation. We could call it a program. Calling it a program makes it easier to understand. But we must come to accept this. The point being illuminated here is for our understanding. Grasp it well. Do not cling to the notion of being human or any particular kind of being. Know that when this body dissolves, within those 15 hours, we wander, eat, play, and indulge as we please. We remain ourselves, yet lack the wisdom to understand, for since birth, no one has taught us about mind essence or life force. Isn't that so? We continue being lost in the same patterns of living. After 15 hours, when our lifespan ends and this body dissolves in death, our mind essence or life force drifts to find a new vessel, being reborn as a new being, cycling thus. Do we truly comprehend this? We are born to consume one another, harboring anger, hatred, vengeance, and animosity, suffering torment when we are consumed, whether by atmospheric conditions, nature's forces, hunger's grip, or other beings. Our suffering persists from waking until sleep, from dawn until dusk. We busy ourselves seeking sustenance and that which we call money, mere paper that we created, colored and named currency. We struggle to acquire this paper. Those who gather the most are deemed capable, wealthy, and powerful. But to what end? When the body dissolves and passes away, consciousness drifts to be reborn, again becoming a being subject to others' predation. Is this what we truly seek? Born as beings who live briefly, consumed by others, suffering torment, then reborn again, cycling thus as beings who consume and are consumed, trapped in recurring suffering and anguish. When consciousness leaves the body to seek a new form, This is our pattern. With each birth, we begin anew, learning again, falling into ignorance again, attaching again, grasping again, suffering again. When the body dissolves, consciousness drifts to find another vessel. It is ignorance seeking a new home. Our consciousness remains in unknowing, lacking wisdom. Thus we must cultivate wisdom within consciousness. Understand this. The science of consciousness is the science of our true nature, the path to understanding our original element. When consciousness or life force realizes we are pure essence, then this body is not us. These speaking sounds are not us. Can you see? We can observe that these speaking sounds are not us. The sounds speak themselves. Thoughts arise by themselves. Have you noticed this? Thoughts arise continually in the mind. When we see that the voice thinks by itself, imagines by itself, experiences emotions and perceptions by itself, this voice is intangible, without form. When it has no form, why should we cling to it? Mental images are intangible, formless. When they have no form, why should we cling to them? The emotions of happiness, suffering, satisfaction, dissatisfaction, neutrality, all the emotions we constantly face, do these have any tangible form? Can they be grasped? When they have no form, cannot be grasped, why do we remain ignorant in clinging to them? This point is very simple. See it here, understand it here. Understand deeply that yes, why do we remain in ignorant suffering? Reality is not as we think or imagine it to be. When emotions arise, just let them be. We simply recognize that thoughts think on their own, mental images arise on their own, and emotions function on their own. If we see these phenomena operating as they are and release our attachment to them, whenever we no longer foolishly cling to these things, our mind or life essence will break free. The initial experience may feel light and open, even bringing tears, as we begin to realize what we have been caught up in. When we no longer cling to these phenomena, the mind or life essence will not be deceived into attachment. Even the things we are aware of right now, such as hearing a sound, notice that it hears on its own, smells on its own, tastes on its own, sees on its own, and senses warmth or cold on its own. The moment we recognize that what is known knows itself, the mind will naturally be released. When we see that what is known is not us, then where are we? If the words being spoken are not us, if the thoughts arising are not us, if the emotions that appear are not ours, then where are we? If what is known is not us, then what is it that hears and perceives? If it is not us, then where are we? When this understanding arises, the mind is immediately released. The moment we truly realize that there is no self at all and fully accept this truth, the life essence sees clearly that the acts of knowing, thinking, imagining and feeling are not the mind itself. The mind then loosens its grip and no longer clings to these things. When the mind awakens to the truth that these phenomena are not the mind, and when we realize that they are not us, then the notions of self and mind become one and the same. Do you understand? I use this voice and these words to communicate with you, to convey that this voice belongs to no one. It has no owner, no self, and cannot be grasped. Do you understand? Those who truly see this may find tears flowing, a sense of release, a lightness. Rejoice in this. Whenever we break free from the sense of self, from the identity of being a person, and see that this voice is not us, emotions are not us, and even what is known is not us, when nothing remains as us, the mind is released. We will come to encounter a certain nature, knowing it through our own natural awareness. This means that the mind or the life essence will awaken to its own nature. We will see why this essence has no form, why it is so pure, why it merges seamlessly as one with the entire universe. It is like the entire universe exists within our mind, and it is light, spacious, with no suffering present within it. It does not require a body, does not need sound, mental images, emotions, or any kind of perception. Here, there is only clarity, purity, and simplicity. Whoever reaches the life essence first will be at ease, no longer suffering. We will recognize that from now on, we will never be born again. There is no possibility of rebirth because there is no self remaining. We awaken to the realization that nothing is truly us. Tears may flow uncontrollably, as if we have lost something we have clung to for so long. We have been dwelling in the machines of animals, in the machines of all creatures, and finally we dwell in the machine of humans. We have lived in these things for so long that we believe everything is truly us. Until one day we realize that we are the life essence, clear, pure, and formless. It does not go, it does not come, it does not birth, it does not die. It is neither dark nor light. It is clear, pure, and always awake. It knows and is always joyful, continuously rejoicing. It is as if we are everything in the universe, and yet there is no suffering. The stars, the universe, the dust, the sun, the black holes, these all reside within us, but none of these are truly related to us. The body we are using now, it works on its own. It moves on its own. The mouth speaks on its own. The nose breathes. The lungs function. The heart beats. The intestines, liver, kidneys, and bones all work on their own. The sounds arise on their own. The mental images come on their own. The emotions arise on their own. What is known knows on its own. Memory recalls on its own. Understanding functions on its own. We see all of these as phenomena that exist within the clear emptiness of our being. We are everything. We are living in these things, but there is no us living in them. We simply wait for the body to decay, and only then will we be at ease, for we will no longer be trapped in this body. Another analogy is that we create something, calling it a prison. We enter the prison of this form, and once inside, we mistakenly believe that everything is us. We try to take care of this body, fearing that the prison of the body will fall apart. We protect it well, because we are afraid it will deteriorate and break down. It's like living in a car. We enter the car and take care of its exterior, its engine, and its paint. We try to prevent anything from touching or damaging the surface of the car. We want the car's surface to be shiny and clean, the engine to be strong and always in good condition, but as it is used, the color dulls, becomes cloudy, and wears down over time. We start to wonder what to do, realizing there's no way to keep the car looking pristine forever. The car begins to degrade, rust starts to corrode. We've been in this car for so long that we begin to believe it belongs to us. Then one day, a wise teacher points out that we are the mind or life essence, residing in this car, in the prison of the body. Imagine the body as a prison, with its form as the cage. We have lived in this body for so long, believing it is ours, so we take care of it. We care for this prison as best we can. But one day, a wise teacher reveals that we are the mind or life essence living within this prison of the body. We must see clearly that this body is not us. We are the clear, pure essence with no form. The prison of the body does not belong to anyone. Do not cling to it, for it is not ours. The voice we speak and use to communicate now is merely a tool to convey that nothing is truly ours. This voice is not us either. It is used to explain and tell us that it has no self, no owner, and cannot be grasped. When the voice has no self, no owner, and cannot be grasped, why should we cling to it? If we don't cling to this voice, nothing anyone says will hurt us. But we believe that this voice has a true self. For example, when someone says Peking duck, we immediately become angry. Why? Because that sound has impacted us. When a frog croaks, ribbit, why don't we get angry? The sound is released into the air, a wave of energy that touches us. We then assign a meaning to it, calling it Peking duck, and get angry. Think about it. Does this sound have a self? No, it has no self and cannot be touched. So why do we still cling to it? Do mental images have a self? No, they have no self and cannot be grasped. So why cling to them? Emotions, for example, anger. Does anger have a self? Can it be touched? When it has no self and cannot be grasped, why do we cling to it? Is it correct? If we simply understand that these things have no self, cannot be grasped, that they impact us and then pass, then so be it. Whether we are angry or happy, it does not matter. For example, if there is great joy, ask yourself, does joy have a self? Can it be touched? And what about sorrow? Does sorrow have a self? Can it be touched? Whether it is joy or sorrow, contentment or discontent, happiness or any other emotion, it is still just an emotion, and emotions have no self. No one owns them. Do you understand this? Whoever sees and understands that these things have no self, no owner, and cannot be grasped, will realize that there is no need to be swept away by them. Who sees and understands this? When the mind or life essence is released, we will understand and realize why it feels light and spacious. Tears may flow because we realize how foolish we were to cling to these things. They have never been us. It is like we have been living in the prison of this body or this robot and taking care of it for so long. There are emotions, sounds, and mental images for us to use, but these things are not us. They are merely tools to be used within this body or prison. Perception is just a tool within this body or prison. A wise teacher points out that we are the essence of emptiness, pure and formless. We have no shape. We are the life essence, formless. If we have no form, then we can escape this prison, showing that the prison cannot contain us. When we realize that we have no form, we become the pure, clear essence, empty and alive, merging with the entire universe. It is as if this prison can no longer contain us. We can easily escape from this prison. We look at this body, at the prison of this body, and realize that we are not connected to this robot or the prison of the body in any way. So why have we stayed with it for so long? This voice is not ours. The mental images are not us. This body is not us. The mental images are not us. Emotions are not us. And what is known is not us. All of this is merely a tool to be used within the prison of the body. When we understand this, we become free, merging with the entire universe. This body will continue to function until it decays and reaches the end of its lifespan. When it reaches its end, everything ends. Without the body, there is no suffering. The suffering we experience arises because we inhabit this body, and no matter what kind of body we take on, we will immediately suffer with it. If we continue to rely on thoughts that insist on believing everything is as we think, do you know that all the stories we've experienced came from this moment? If we think about events from our childhood, those events are happening right now. Try to recall your childhood. Think about the old stories you've lived through. Do you believe those images, those stories, truly exist? Can they be touched or formed into a solid shape? These things arise from this moment. The thoughts and ideas we have right now create stories from the past or future. They appear and gain meaning because we think about them. Try thinking about your parents' faces right now. Think about your home. Think about the land. Think about the people you know on this earth. Think about the happiness from the past. Think about the suffering you've experienced. Right now, these things will appear. Try thinking about the person you dislike the most right now. Images will form right now. Emotions will arise right now. Think about the happiness you once had. It will generate thoughts right now. Mental images will arise right now. Emotions will emerge right now. Everything arises because of this moment. We are relying on this thought, relying on this voice. If right now we are relying on thoughts, relying on mental images, relying on emotions, then all things will appear. But if we see that the thoughts we are having right now, the words we are speaking right now, or the voice speaking in our mind right now, this voice has no self. Try to think about it. The mental images we have right now have no self. The emotions arising right now have no self. They cannot be grasped. Who can grasp sound? Who can grasp mental images or emotions? They have no self, right? If they have no self, then in this moment, it cannot be proven where they are. There is only the voice speaking in our mind all the time, from the beginning of the hour until now. There is only this voice speaking. We flow with this voice, following it, thinking along with it, understanding it. But do you know that this voice has no self, cannot be grasped? Then where are we? What is known right now, where is it? The perception arises on its own, right? Then where does the act of perception reside? Understanding arises by itself, doesn't it? And where does this understanding reside? Some may wonder, where does this wondering exist? Understanding or doubt are merely ripples in the empty, pure element, rippling like waves on the surface of water. Sounds, mental images, emotions, and all acts of awareness are like ripples on the surface of our empty, pure life essence. If we observe and understand as described now, tears may flow, and we feel open, light, and liberated. Because there is no self at all, we will be permanently free from suffering when we realize that nothing is our self. When we understand that nothing is our self, we will not harm one another, will not desire to be great or important, will not be arrogant or boastful, and will have none of those desires, because there is no self. What remains is a profound appreciation, flowing tears, lightness, openness, and merging with the entire universe. This essence is nothing at all. It does not come or go, is not born or extinguished, is neither dark nor bright. This element is immortal, pure, and united with all things. There is only joy, lightness, openness, and freedom, like being released from the prison of the body, like stepping out of an old car we've used for a long time. We have maintained and treasured this vehicle for so long, but once we step out, we see that this car simply exists as it is. Soon it will break down. It cannot last long. We now understand that this car is not our self. We have merely resided in this car for so long that we believe this car is us. But when we step out of the car, we immediately realize that this car is not us. Whether the car breaks down or not is its own matter, you understand? The technology or instruments of this car, such as its lights, internal sounds, image-creating mental pictures, emotions, and various conditions arising in the car, we misunderstand these as belonging to us. But in truth, nothing at all is our self. When we step out of the car, we realize the truth that we are not connected to this car in any way. Even the voice I use to communicate with you has no form, no owner. We tend to think repeatedly until it becomes neurosis. Do you realize you're playing with something that has no form? We are trying to shape that which has no form into form, like trying to mold water into shape, mold air into shape, or mold empty clarity into shape. Do you understand? We are trying to mold air into sound and then claiming this is our voice. Try asking where that voice is located. We believe we are speaking, but where are we? This is the essence of life. Explained another way, whenever the life element continues to attach to and rely on instruments, this life element will dwell this way throughout eternity. Each time the life element drifts, it will inhabit one body, becoming the body of an aquatic animal, land animal, winged animal, or any kind of being. We become the animal body, and the life element mistakenly inhabits that instrument, thinking, "I am a deer, I am eating grass. Oh, where did this tiger come from? It's chasing me, biting my leg. I'm in pain. I was just fine. Why is it attacking me? It's tearing at my throat. I can't breathe. I hate it. I'm suffering." When the body dies, the life element drifts away from the body. We see this tiger eating our body, and we still feel anger toward it. But wait, once the life element is released from the body, why are we angry? Don't you see that this body is not us? The body is like something received freely. We were given this body, the body of an animal, whether aquatic, land, or winged creature. We eat them, they eat us. When we receive a body freely, what we also get is a prison, the prison of the body. When we get a body, it's like getting a car. Once we have a car, we become busy. Before having a car, life was simple. We could walk anywhere without spending money or worrying. But once we have a car, we must fill it with gas, earn money to maintain it, pay for insurance, take care of it, and repair everything. The body is the same. Sometimes we need to change the tires, sometimes fix black smoke problems, engine issues, scratched paint. We need to polish it, coat it, take it to the repair shop, or add modifications. Since getting a car, life has never been peaceful. From dawn until dusk, we must devote ourselves to seeking those papers we call money, just to repair this vehicle. In the past, there were no cars, no such things. Life was simple, without worry or struggle. Work was easy, no need to run after money. When we received paper called money, we simply kept it, not knowing what to do with it, except to buy food for the day. Life was simple, relaxed. On a day off, we could rest and go here and there with peace of mind, without burdens. But once we have this car, responsibilities follow. There's the cost of fuel every day, the cost of changing the oil, replacing tires, polishing, waxing, and washing the car more frequently. Before, life was never this hectic, but now we must wash the car every day, check different parts, take care of the car, solve problems like rocks hitting the windshield, causing cracks, broken headlights, or scratched paint. Every day is filled with these worries, leaving us sleepless. Whatever we possess, we suffer with it. Let's revisit it from the beginning. We are the mind or life essence, empty, clear and pure. Here, there is nothing at all. There is no need for a body. Try to imagine, without a body, how peaceful life would be. We wouldn't rely on sound. We wouldn't depend on these things, because in pure essence, there is no desire for sound. It merges with everything and knows everything. But once we enter this world, we must rely on sound to communicate, rely on mental images to think, rely on emotions to interact, and rely on perception to sustain life in this world, to find food, to nourish the body. Everything depends on these things, just as I rely on sound to communicate with you. But when we understand that we are the mind or life essence, these things are not us. They do not belong to us. Try to see clearly that the voice speaking is speaking on its own. Mental images arise on their own. Emotions arise on their own. Everything functions by itself. What is known knows itself. Just like the heart beats on its own, breathing happens on its own. The liver, kidneys, and lungs all function on their own. The hands and feet move on their own. If we simply observe and understand that everything functions on its own, we will see the truth in this. Then where are we? Once we realize that we have never been connected to anything, that nothing is truly us, The mind or life essence will break free immediately. When we are free from these attachments, we will see clearly. We will know the truth on the day when the mind or life essence breaks free, severing from sound, mental images, emotions, and all forms of perception. When it breaks free, it will be like pulling a high-voltage wire apart. There will be sparks and an explosion in the moment it separates. But once it is free, it will be independent. The mind or life essence will remain free from that day until today. Over 10 years have passed, and it remains clear, pure, and free. What is being spoken right now does not feel like we are speaking at all. There is no sense of us remaining. There is no feeling that we are thinking or imagining. There is no sense that the emotions or what is known belong to us. Everything is simply happening on its own, knowing on its own, thinking on its own, having emotions on its own. The body gets sick on its own. Everything is not us at all. One day, when this body breaks down, it will be peaceful, and there will be no more rebirth. I want to tell you that this will be the last life. Anyone who listens to my teachings will no longer suffer. They will live peacefully on this earth. The world will enter an era of true world peace. We will come to know the essence of world peace, which arises from understanding the mind or life essence. When we truly realize that nothing is us, we will awaken to this truth. This world can exist without harming one another, without killing, without destruction. We can live together in peace. Life becomes simple. Eating one meal a day, living to help and support each other, truly creating an era of prosperity together. When we understand the mind or life essence, we comprehend the empty luminosity of the universe. We can travel to any star in the cosmos. We will create spacecraft that can instantly disappear to anywhere. We will build tools that allow us to be anywhere in just a moment of thought. Technology will advance tremendously when we understand the mind or life essence. Those of us who have received this knowledge should pass it on and spread it so everyone can learn. Parents should teach their children. Share my recordings with them so all students can learn. This teaching must be offered in all schools at every level, from young children to older ones. Those who pass this subject, who fully realize the mind or life essence, emerge liberated, spacious, light, and at ease, free from the feeling of being a separate self. When one no longer feels like a separate person, that shows they have passed and can advance to the next level. Everyone will transform, carrying inner peace and coolness, possessing sharp wisdom that understands all things, and will no longer suffer from anything. Stress disorders, neurosis, migraines, and countless illnesses will disappear because when we transcend our sense of self, suffering ceases. Without suffering, there is no stress. Whatever arises in thought, let it be. Whatever emotions emerge, let them be. Whatever arises in mind, let it be. The knowing awareness simply knows, without attachment. The mind will release its grip on knowing, no longer carrying knowledge or suffering as before. Stress disorders, neurosis, and all illnesses will vanish. The body will grow strong, and life will transform. Everyone will live on this earth without causing harm to one another, without quarrels or conflicts, without deception, for nothing remains as self. There will only be sharing, helping, and supporting one another. We will pass on this teaching so everyone can realize the mind or life essence. When all share and teach this wisdom, when every child learns this subject and every adult listens to my recordings, all will awaken to and directly experience the mind or life essence. We will begin to speak only of the mind and life essence, saying things like, "Yesterday I felt something miraculous. While listening to your recording, suddenly my mind burst open. spacious and light. I cried for 3 days. I felt so unburdened and light that I didn't hunger for food or fish. Some may experience this state for 3 days, others for a week, some for a month, others for just an hour or merely 10 minutes. But that moment is truly miraculous. At first it will seem miraculous, but with time we will come to feel it as ordinary. It is the natural state of mind or life essence that has realized its true nature as pure element, no longer foolishly clinging to conditions or anything else. When the mind breaks free from ignorance, it becomes filled with wisdom and complete understanding. Initially this appears new and wondrous, but eventually it becomes the ordinary nature of the primordial element. As we grow accustomed to this knowledge, everyone will discuss it until it becomes commonplace, saying things like, "How are you? Are you well? Very well indeed. I no longer suffer. Going anywhere is comfortable now. There's nothing to worry about anymore." Even when facing illness, old age, or whenever the body disintegrates and dies, one remains at ease. This will be our final birth. Who would know that we never truly came into being on this earth? Who would know that what appears to be knowing right now has no one who actually knows? Who would know that we are the life essence, empty, luminous, and utterly pure? This recording ends here. May all of us listen to this recording and swiftly, suddenly awaken to the truth of mind as the core of life, as the element of empty, luminous purity. If you're interested in these teachings on awakening, mind observation, and transcending suffering through wisdom, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your insights in the comments, provide productive feedback, and if you find this content valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.